There are seasons when pain no longer cries out loud. It settles quietly, like dust in the corners of the heart, and you begin to wonder if this is simply who you are now. Not broken enough to fall apart, not healed enough to feel whole, just living in the space between what was lost and what has not yet returned. In moments like this, identity feels fragile. Conversations replay without permission. Doors close again in your memory. Silence grows heavy. And slowly, almost without noticing, you begin to believe that pain has earned the right to define you. But pain was never given that authority. Pain can shape experience, but it cannot cancel calling. It can leave a mark on memory, but it cannot erase what God has already spoken. His choosing was never fragile, never reactive, never dependent on how strong you were, or how quickly you recovered. It existed before the wound, and it remains long after the ache has settled in. Sometimes the deepest struggle is not what happened to you, but what it caused you to question. You questioned your worth. You questioned your place. You questioned whether you were still seen. And when answers did not come quickly, you learned to protect yourself from hope. Protection can feel wise, but over time, it can quietly turn into isolation. Yet even here, God does not step back. He does not wait for you to feel confident again. He does not require clarity before closeness. He meets you in uncertainty and calls you by the same name he has always used, chosen. Being chosen does not mean your life unfolded gently. It means your life unfolded under watchful care, even when you could not feel it. God does not choose the uninjured, he chooses the willing. He chooses those who stay open even when trust has been costly. Chosen is not a title you earn by surviving well. It is not a reward for endurance. It is a truth that remains even when survival feels heavy. You are not chosen because you handled pain gracefully. You are chosen because love decided to stay. And divine love does not retreat at the sight of scars. If pain taught you to measure yourself by what you lost, God invites you to measure yourself by what still holds you. Breath still fills your lungs. Grace still reaches your heart. Presence still surrounds you, even when emotion lags behind truth. Awakening does not begin with understanding. It begins with permission. Permission to let God speak again. Permission to let his voice settle deeper than the echoes of disappointment. Permission to believe, slowly, that your story did not pause because you were heard. You have not been replaced. You have not been overlooked. You have not been forgotten in the waiting. God's choosing does not expire when life becomes painful. It becomes more intimate, more deliberate, more tender. So rest here for a moment. Let your heart stop rehearsing what wounded you. Let your soul loosen its grip on self-protection. You are not standing at the edge of grace. You are already inside it. Even after the pain, you are still chosen, still held, still called by name. Prayer. Father, meet me where my heart has grown quiet from pain. Remind me that your choosing has never changed. Teach me to trust your presence again. Amen. If this prayer touched your heart, write amen in the comments as a seed of blessing. Share it with someone who needs peace, and stay with us at 10 Min with God, where every moment becomes a place to return to him. Healing rarely arrives as a sudden feeling. More often, it begins as a quiet shift in what you allow to speak inside you. Pain once held the microphone. It narrated your worth. It explained your future. And without realizing it, you agreed. But transformation begins when agreement changes. Not through force, through attention. You start noticing which voices carry life and which only echo old fear. There is a difference between what hurt you and what is true about you. Pain speaks from a moment. God speaks from eternity. One reacts, the other remains. And here, in this turning point, you are invited to listen differently, not to the loudest voice, but to the truest one. Transformation is not about silencing pain completely. It is about placing it under a greater authority. You may still feel the weight of what was said, what was implied, what was never apologized for. But notice this, pain repeats itself. Truth does not need repetition to endure. It settles, it stays, it waits patiently for space. And when you make room, even reluctantly, it begins to rearrange the way you see yourself. The world teaches you to prove worth by performance, by resilience, by how quickly you recover and move on. God moves differently. He restores from the inside out. He does not rush healing to impress anyone. He allows truth to take root slowly, deeply, until it becomes stronger than the memory of being wounded. Transformation happens when you stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and begin asking, "What is God saying to me now?" That question changes posture. It turns you from defense to listening, from self-protection to discernment. You begin to notice that God's voice does not accuse. It clarifies. It does not shame. It steadies. It does not compete with noise. It rises through stillness. This is where your mind begins to renew, not by denying what hurt, but by refusing to let it hold final meaning. You learn to interrupt old patterns. When self-doubt surfaces, you pause instead of spiraling. When fear predicts failure, you answer with trust instead of panic. Not because you feel strong, but because you are learning whose strength carries you. Transformation does not mean you will never remember the pain. It means the pain no longer decides who you are becoming. God's truth reshapes perspective. Slowly, gently, firmly. You begin to see that being chosen does not remove struggle, but it reframes it. Struggle becomes a place of encounter instead of abandonment. As this shift takes place, something else softens. Your expectations, your timelines, your need to control outcomes. You start to trust that God is working beyond what you can measure, that even unseen progress is still progress, that silence does not mean absence, it often means depth. Let this be the moment you release the need to be defined by survival alone. You are not here merely to endure. You are here to be transformed. And transformation is not loud. It is faithful, it is steady, it is carried by grace that does not wear out. You are still chosen, not just to heal, but to grow. Not just to recover, but to be remade from the inside. And what God is forming in you now will not resemble the pain that once shaped you. It will resemble His truth. Prayer. God, renew my mind where old voices still linger. Teach me to recognize your truth and trust it above all else. Transform me gently, completely, and deeply. Amen. If this prayer stirred your heart, leave an amen below as a seed of blessing. Share this with someone who needs renewal and subscribe to 10 Men with God, where hearts are restored, one quiet moment at a time. There comes a moment when healing asks for more than understanding. It asks for surrender. Not the dramatic kind, not a promise made in perfect clarity, but the quiet release of control you have been holding since the pain began. Consecration starts here, when you stop negotiating with fear, when you loosen your grip on the need to protect every vulnerable place, when you allow God to lead not only your recovery, but your future. You may still feel cautious. Trust does not rush back all at once, yet consecration does not require certainty. It requires availability. A willingness to say, without rehearsing conditions, I am here. God does not ask you to map out the road ahead. He asks you to place your next step in His care. And when you do, something inside you shifts. The weight of proving yourself begins to lift. The urgency to defend your worth softens. You begin to live from belonging, not from fear of loss. Consecration means you stop asking pain for permission to move forward. You acknowledge what hurt without building your home inside it. You let God name the future instead of old disappointments. This is not denial. This is devotion. You are choosing to trust that the one who chose you knows how to lead you gently, wisely, and with purpose. In this posture, prayer becomes simpler. Fewer explanations, fewer arguments, more presence. You find yourself breathing slower, listening deeper, not because everything is resolved, but because you are no longer alone in carrying it. God's presence does not erase the past. It repositions it. What once dominated the story now becomes a chapter, not the conclusion. As you consecrate your heart, you begin to notice new fruit. Patience where anxiety once ruled. Discernment where confusion lingered. A steady confidence that does not need applause. This confidence is quiet. It does not announce itself. It rests. It knows that being chosen means you are held even when outcomes remain unseen. You may not feel ready for everything ahead, but readiness is not the requirement. Trust is. God does not wait for you to become fearless. He walks with you while fear learns to loosen its grip. And each time you choose to lean instead of resist, something sacred forms within you. A heart that listens, a spirit that rests, a life that reflects grace rather than strain. Consecration is where you stop striving to be acceptable and start living as already loved. Where obedience feels less like obligation and more like alignment. Where your story continues, not driven by what hurt you, but guided by who walks with you now. So offer this moment to God, not as a performance, as a presence. Let Him lead the pace. Let Him guard your heart. Let Him finish what He began. You are not stepping into the unknown alone. You are stepping forward with the one who chose you and who remains faithful beyond every season of pain. Prayer. Father, I place my heart and my future in your hands. Lead me gently, teach me to trust, and let my life reflect your peace. I belong to you. Amen. If this prayer brought peace to your soul, write Amen in the comments as a seed of blessing. Share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to 10 Men with God, where hearts learn to rest, trust, and walk forward with Him.